Sup, Noor?
Hello. You can, yes. Maybe like catch them. Catch them. Like, yeah. Hi. Oh, you guys, it's really nice to be here. This was like a lot of pieces to put together. Look at your faces. It's really nice to see you. I'm Katie, Lee Ellison. A couple of important notes, I think, to recognize before we have a good time and like get into the joyful part of this. We are an unceded Coast Salish land and in the middle of a couple of wars and a genocide. That's like the backdrop for tonight. And that's what there is to say about that for me. It's also why spaces like this feel so critically important right now. Why sharing joy and connection and art is, this is our 10th event. I think we've had about 80 readers on stage at this point, so something like 88 tonight. And we've been to, the third event was in Portland, which was amazing. I sort of snuck in and built it around Tin House in July last summer, and that was incredible. And like side note, I met Jessica Lynn, who read at that event, and now we're co-curating a Nonfiction For No Reason in September in New York. It's just to like grow and have this be the beginning of new relationships for you and for everybody in the room. Then we went to LA in January, and that was super weird, and I'm not going to get into it, but it was very good. And then we were in Tokyo in March, which was wacko and amazing and incredible, and we're trying to keep it going there too. They need it. So this thing has a life of its own, and I'm just like grateful to have birthed it in November. And I had somebody trying to talk me into something in July, like a mini, so keep your eyes and ears peeled for that in Rainier Beach. We'll see. I don't know. I'm trying to get the pieces like scaffolded. You know what I mean? You didn't. I don't know. Maybe you do. Long. I want to say longer, deeper, wider. Cohort, which was an incredible group of people, and first one, yeah. And was totally blown away by both of their readings, and chased them down, and was like thrilled to have found
person, place, or thing, or idea. And so that's kind of what I'm feeling right now on stage. Katie invited me to do this nonfiction medical trauma specifically for transgender individuals. It's also dedicated to my spouse, who it's about. I'm going to put them on the spot. They're right there. So, yeah, okay. Wait. What I want to say about this first is that this whole piece is about the medical industrial complex and care and what it means when the oceans are known to drown. Still, no one has spoken to me face to face. Maybe my face melted off under those sanitized, oppressive fluorescent lights, and they can't see me. Come in. Yes. Welcome. I receive only one more phone call an hour later. I wonder if they're calling me from home while they're, even during a pandemic, family members were allowed to be in the recovery room. Friends could have been there. I was barred from existing in the recovery rooms. I wasn't ever allowed to exist even in the pre-surgery appointments. I wasn't ever allowed to exist. I wasn't allowed. I am married and locked out of those heavens. I'm a sin eater who couldn't be a wifey. Maybe that's why the doctors are bypassing me. Maybe they cut me out of Kai's chest because in their heads, they were making Kai more cis, less trans, and I was ruining their procedure. It's obvious something went wrong, but no one is telling me the truth. That's what they put him on. It's supposed to help with making sure the body doesn't move at all, so that when they do the procedure, then dealing with death in the room. In this moment, Kai is nodding off. I wish I was in the world he nodded off to, so that we could sink into this molting fever together. The nurse says goodnight after plopping Kai's walking corpse into the to go home. I look at my lover who is barely hanging onto the waking world, who was put on a celebrity death drug without his consent, who is being wheeled out from a near-death experience, but nobody is calling it that. Okay, that was my first one. Thank you for listening. What's this? Suka, he says. The next word he utters means plato, he continues in Spanish. His wife
Already, please get some delicious food from Off Alley. They're amazing. Thank you, Megna, for being here. Okay, next up is Jessica E. Johnson. Yeah. Where are you? Why do I keep losing? There you are. I'm really, really excited to be in the same room as Jessica finally. Jessica co-hosts and co-organizes the Constellation Reading Series in Portland. So we have two writers from Portland tonight, one from New York, and I think everybody else is local. So I'm just really excited she's here. I hear we've not yet met before this night, but I only hear from a million people, Jessica is wonderful. Jessica E. Johnson, she, they, is a career community college instructor based in Portland, Oregon, and the author of the book-length poem Metabolics from Acre Poetry Series, the chapbook In Absolutes We See Each Other from Radical Care and the relationships between art, friendship, community, and social change. She is a contributor to Cascadia Field Guide, Art, Ecology, Poetry, and her poems, essays, and reviews have appeared in the Paris Review, Tin House, The New Republic, Poetry Northwest, 32 Poems, River Teeth, Annulet Poetics, and Sixth Finch, among others. She co-hosts the Constellation Reading Series. Please.
Thank you so much for having me. I used to live here. I lived here for 8 years, and it's really nice to be back. I'm reading from Metalwork. It came out Thursday. I have to tell you, it is, boo Amazon, but it is Amazon's #1 release in the mining category. Which initially made me very sad, but then I thought, it is partially about a little girl growing up in the shadow of extractive industry who now is getting to have her say. The one thing you need to know, I think, is when I gave birth to my first child, and my mom sent me a couple of scanned Polaroids and a couple of letters that she wrote when she was raising me in mining camps, when she was following my dad around and he was like doing this small mining thing. And I had thought, I had only vague memories of it, and I didn't really think it pertained very much to me. But then as I was, raising my daughter, it all sort of came flooding back and sent me on this journey of investigation that is this book. So the letters are referenced. I'm going to read 2 little chunks of the book, and the second one is really like a nonfiction nerd piece, hopefully appropriate for tonight. But here's the first piece. Looking at the shape of the pages, the lines on the paper, the tilt of my mother's light handwriting, I could remember what it felt like to watch her. I could remember one particular sky blue and grass green day just after we'd moved to town. She sat on a low lawn chair, balancing a writing pad on her thighs. I orbited. I was shirtless, wearing jeans that had belonged first to a boy, and though I had learned by then that I was a girl, I was okay with it, only when I could imagine that girl meant omnidirectional, wild potential, something like flame. The particular paper, the particular pen were not routinely available to me only, as almost nothing did. They lived in the drawer below the telephone, conductor of messages, bringer of news, conduit of exciting voices. It was new to have a telephone and to live in a house near a store. It was new, and I was afraid it wouldn't last. In this new life, I wanted to proclaim, to make words, to say and say. My father was somewhere working and had been somewhere working forever. He was working at the mine whose location and distance I wasn't certain of. The mine was in fact not one, but many. I only knew that it was the most important thing, the reason for leaving places I wanted to stay, or staying places I wanted to leave. If he was coming home on Friday night, from the lilac-scented dawn of Friday, events would coalesce around his arrival. Cleaning up, baking bread, getting the boring things done before he was here. His arrival would be an event. My mom, me, the baby, the dog, would listen for the rush of his big approaching engine, gather on the porch, and watch the new used root beer colored pickup pull up into the shade of the locust trees that I found painfully tall and graceful, like green celebrities in a warm sky. He would push open the heavy door and step down from the cab happy. After he left again, all the waves made by his presence slowly diminished back into the large body of undifferentiated time. On this day that I remember, my mother was writing a letter, and that was the solid thing, an activity generated by my mother's own wish to do it. It was something she did by herself, for her now since we moved down to town you can get your art supplies from inside. But I was usually tired of drawing, tired of all I couldn't give shape to, tired of the motions of my body in its search for some kind of business. Goodness. I'm going to skip ahead a bit to this next part. The shape of mining, removing the desired substance from its place and separating it from what it clings to, has so many analogs, almost a meta-metaphor attachable to countless other activities. Among other things, it is a popular metaphor for writing. Writers or critics or teachers speak of mining experience as if we were pulling a story, a poem, an essay away from a great undifferentiated mass of reality, as if the selecting and refining that writers must do is akin to pulling metal apart from rock, as if stepping into ideas, scenes, tones. After my mother sent the first letters, with 2 kids and a deepening sense of the ways in which the story in my mother's letters might be the key to a lock I didn't yet know the location of, I asked her if I could read the unconditionally for me to make of what I could. Without knowing where I was going, I went through them and started making notes. Reading and rereading, I notice what she knows from my life, from information, is not so much a story as it is a mine. And if it were, I might feel masculine and purposeful, comparing my work to his instead of hers, as if I could claim a workmanlike identity in pursuit of a seek and find narrative, as if I could skip from the limiting above-ground universe to the consequential one below. This metaphor is available, but I have come to believe this reading and seeking and finding and making sense takes place in a dimension that is fundamentally unminable, a place neither above nor below the earth's skin, but where words cross time in a kind of mind's eye that holds the past and future, the dead and the not yet living. I may find my mother here as she was when I was learning.
Okay. Mom stuff messes me up. I get shaky and weird. Thank you. Next up is Putsatariang. This is so long in the making. I feel I've been emailing you at least a year. This thing is only like a year and a few months old. I don't really know what to say except I'm just so thrilled you're here too. That I already feel like we're friends and we just met. Putsatariang is an award-winning author and journalist whose writings have appeared in a variety of national and international publications, including the New York Times, Politico, The Guardian, Miss, the Seattle Times, and the San Jose Mercury News. Her debut memoir, Ma and Me, from FSG MCD, May 7th, won the Pacific Northwest Booksellers Association Prize for Nonfiction and was a finalist for a Dayton Literary Peace Prize and Lambda Literary Prize. Putsata was born in Cambodia and raised in rural Oregon, surrounded by berry farms, where she and her family hustled to earn their middle-class existence. Her memoir explores the glades of displacement felt by children of refugees and the overlay of emotional exile that comes with being gay. Please welcome Putsata.
It's so great to be here. And can we also give a shout out and a hand to Katie for having this amazing event for writers like me and the other writers who came before me. By the way, tough acts to follow. For us to have an opportunity to share our work. My memoir, Ma and Me, had its 2-year anniversary just yesterday. I've been on speaking tour the past couple years, and I swear if I have to read anything else out of my memoir, I'll just probably just lay down and die right now. So I'm not going to read anything out of my memoir. I'm actually going to read something new. I'm going to read an excerpt. I just decided it's a work in progress, but I thought, what the heck? Let me be vulnerable and read something that's not quite polished. The working title is The Return. From high above, 10,000 feet and approaching Bojidong Airport in Cambodia's capital, Phnom Penh, the Dalai Sap River is a liver on the landscape, splayed in the center of a nation that has struggled to find its calm. It's ringed by rinds of green land, tropical trees, and shrubs. The place where I come from, where I meet myself most fully in the landscape. The children's book author, Dr. Nadine Brooks, says, books are a window that allow us a glimpse into the lives and experiences of others, or a mirror reflecting parts of ourselves. I think it's places. Places do that too. We traveled to launch the previous year, detailing my conflict with my mom over me being gay. And I was returning as a tourist rather than a resident, as someone who was meant to move on. I couldn't have known then, before boarding my flight in Seattle, that this trip would expose cracks not obvious on the outside, both in my country and in myself. And those cracks would lead me to my gut twinged at the thought of returning, an emotion I couldn't yet name. I thought I was nervous about the elections that summer of 2023, because elections in Cambodia often meant protests, and protests had a way of devolving into bloodshed. Violence not only sanctioned, but ordered by the country's authoritarian ruler. It wasn't fully that. I was worried that Cambodia, the person I thought I could make myself be, all those years ago when I lived in the country where I was born. It had been a decade since I'd lived in Phnom Penh and loved a man I thought I'd marry. We had an apartment, a housekeeper, books banked along those. Having a husband made sense in the context of my country, where my mother had a husband, and her mother before her had a husband, and so on. Back then, as a resident of Cambodia, where the pressures to marry a man were magnified by a cavalcade of particularly pushy aunties, I told myself I could take back that moment in California when, as a 24-year-old, I told my mother I was gay. Back then, in 2005, it seemed impossible to find a woman to date in my people, a betrayal. This was a country of customs, decorum, and ancient ways of living. How could I impose my Western values of free love and claiming my selfhood on my homeland? I couldn't. Instead, I did what I've always been good at. I adapted to my surroundings, and I found a man to marry. But identities, like rivers, reverse course. I later left the man, the country, and my relatives, and I flew back across the Pacific Ocean to America for good. It was spring of 2015. 2 years later, I did get married, spinning into and out of different drafts of ourselves. And the best we can do is not lose ourselves completely in the revolutions. So that's just the top part of the essay, and the rest is... The rest is kind of in shambles. I'm working on it now, but it's basically this idea about how we are different people when we're in different places. Thanks, everybody.
Ay, ay, ay. Shout out to queer women who thought they were going to marry a man, by the way. Oy. Okay. Oh, God. I just love you. Thank you so much. Nina St. Pierre. I haven't gotten to talk to you yet. Where's the hat? Oh, there she is. Yeah, I feel like I know you, or like we're friends already. Also, for reasons maybe I should just say to you in person, but I guess I love Lily Danziger. I've taken 1 million of her classes. She's like an example, and somehow younger than me, and it's upsetting. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, that's my introduction for you. And then this is the formal stuff. Whether telling her own stories or reporting on the lives of others, Nina is drawn to boundary breakers and in-between places. Her debut memoir, Love is a Burning Thing, is out now from Dutton Books. Just for an essayist, she makes unexpected connections, whether profiling the soul woman in the Rough Riders street bike. Read her work in GQ, Harper's Bazaar, Gossamer, Outside, Bitch, and more. Nina holds an MFA from Rutgers, was a 2023 NYSCA, NYFA Artist Fellow in Nonfiction Literature, and an RESP Fellow. She lives in New York City. Please welcome Nina.
Okay, I tried to be cute, but I'm not used to being this tall, so hopefully it works. Thank you so much for that and for inviting me. I'm so happy. And I'm feeling the pressure of sort of sitting in bookstores and sounding eloquent, and I mean, hopefully I'll still sound, legible here, but it's so nice to be in a space and remember, kind of like why I do this, and it's to be with writers and readers and lovers of literature. So thanks for having me. I'm still kind of playing around with like how to excerpt this book for like sections that are understandable in short form. So, and I've been reading a little bit more from the beginning and feeling like, oh, I have to give all this context. But I thought this group seems like they could rock with whatever. So I'm going to try something from the end, or closer to care. She was put into a squad car and taken to the county jail, where she was booked on charges of felony arson and was in there for 3 months, etc. So that's, I guess, what you need to know for this section. I just realized I was going to read something further back. Anyway, okay, this will be short. In one of Mom's letters to me from jail, on coffee-stained paper with thick purple marker, she wrote of the women in her cell block. During weekly craft sessions, they made paper flowers with Polydent and turned toilet paper inserts into hair rollers. Most were in on petty drugs and money crimes, she said, while the real criminals, politicians and DAs, ran free. This is her talking. I mean, she's not wrong. It's quite a life experience, all right, she wrote. Everybody shares and cares, and I think that's interesting. I've done about 5 tarot readings for the women, just using regular playing cards. I think they've gone well and been helpful. I imagined her holding court in the common room of cell block D. No silk scarves to pretty up the industrial plastic tables, no candles to set the mood for ritual. There, just as she had in the Michigan burn unit, oh, there's another fire. She self-immolated and was in the burn unit for months. So it's just like a lot of context to give. So you should just read the book. It's a soft sell. There, just as she had in the Michigan burn unit 33 years earlier, she found a way to render the space sacred, to make an offering, to move beyond circumstance, if not in body, then in spirit. In that letter, and others like it, I recognized a ghost of a mother I'd known, one at ease in smoky pool halls, who spoke freely with people the rest of the world had written off. An unlikely shapeshifter, she understood the disordered mind. Others, feminist, even queer. Maybe all those years, in defining her illness via spiritual imagery, she was claiming her vessel, rendering it, as Esme Wei-Jun Wing writes, fine and good. While my father's spiritual practice demanded devotion, my mother's practice demonstrated that deconstruction was a belief, that faith was an action, not an endpoint. Whether throwing jailhouse tarot in a county-issued jumpsuit or receiving a mantra under the fluorescent glare of hospital lights, you could reach God anywhere, she seemed to say. In the asylum as well as the ashram. Maybe the stigma of schizophrenia as split mind has been so persistent because it's easier to say goodbye to one part of a person you love than to accept that they could be, that they are, terror and beauty in one. But maybe this is our work, to allow it all to exist at once. Every complicated story, every contradictory, impossible, uncapturable, untellable story is our chance at God. Every time we let many things be true at once, maybe that is God. Thank you. Also, run on vibes alone, but like sell a book. So, no pressure, but it's there. Thank you.
Religiously placed QR codes all over the room are available for your use. And other than that, get food and drink from Off Alley. They are incredible and local and small and amazing, and they make crazy food. There are duck roulettes at the table, okay? I still don't really know what that is, but it's really good. I tried a bite. And the wine is amazing. And there's books for sale from Third Place Books. Please talk to each other, take a little break, and we'll be back in like 10-ish.
I'm sending you this photograph of me in my new car, but I hate to. You politely say I miss you, but we know you don't mean that anymore. Like when the doctor thought he caught you, then you weaseled through the door. Through the door of consciousness, San Francisco.
baby, baby, please don't you let me go. No, darling, don't make me explain it. I don't know why, but I don't want to. Ooh, baby, baby, please don't you let me go. No, darling, don't make me explain it. I don't know why, but I don't want to. Yes, darling, I remember what I said to you while I was packing my clothes. Now that it's done and I got all that's mine, look at you, just standing there crying. Shut up and I'll unpack my rags, honey. My pride won't let me do what I feel. Too much is too much temptation here. Maybe I won't go and maybe I will. Ooh, baby, baby, please don't you let me go. No, darling, don't make me explain it. I don't know why, but I don't want to. Look at my pride, the thing is trying to block my path. Only a few steps and it won't be my last. Pride, get out the way, you dirty, rotten son of a gun. You never done a thing for me. Wait, I forgot one more thing, sugar. Where's my ticket? I lost my diamond ring. No, don't help me find it. Let me take my own time, sugar. Don't let me catch you acting glad that I left. Ooh, baby, baby, please don't you let me go. No, darling, don't make me explain it. I don't know why, but I don't want to. I don't know why, but I don't want to. I don't know why, but I don't want to. I don't know why, but I don't want to.
I really love you, and I mean you. The star above you, crystal blue. Well, oh baby, my hair's on end about you. Okay. I wouldn't see you, and I love to. I fly above you, yes I do. Well, oh baby, my hair's on end about you. Dark boulders hiding all the sunlight's good for us. 'Cause we're the fishes and all we do. The move about is oh baby, my hair's on and about you. what you wanna do. Hands, do you really wanna hold my dirty hands? Do you really wanna hold my dirty hands? Do you really wanna hold my dirty hands? Me and Bobby went to the beach this summer. We built castles in the sand and smoked dope by the water. 3003, whatever. So I really want is you. We'll be together. 'Cause I'm gonna stick with you. I'm wearing leather. And I really think it's cool. We'll be together. 'Cause you're gonna do what you wanna do. Baby, make me
Hi. Whoa. Hi. Hello. Hello. Please take your seats. Oh, shush. Okay. We could just forget the whole rest of the thing, but that would suck. It feels like you guys could just keep talking all night, and I could. All right, business. Okay, I have neglected to say what we're doing here. So we're fundraising for CAM. Yes. Yeah. Yes, we are. Common area maintenance is an amazing space. Timothy, how long have you guys been here? 8.5 years. And it's kind of always looked like this, which is an incredible thing because it always feels like it's changing. It's like constantly changing and always the same. It's one of my favorite places in this city. And it's always been available to us for readings and for whatever. I've met amazing people in this room. Amazing art is made in the back. If you've gone to the bathroom, then you've gotten a little glimpse of what goes on here. So thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting this space. What's happening now is CAM is expanding a couple blocks away, and they are creating a specifically devoted space for writers only? Only.
We're creating an independent public bookstore, educational space driven by local writers, and we're going to create more generative workspace for communities. So it'll be a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah. Lots of special treats in the works for this second space. So that's what we're fundraising for. There's going to be an official sort of like fundraiser bonanza later in the summer. So this is like a first little taste. And the goal is $1,000 for the night. And I think the last I checked, let's see, we are at 700. That's cute. I like that. So let's see if we can do it. I don't know, like no pressure. Like times are hard. But like a little bit of pressure, but like, pressure, but no pressure, Okay. I also want to say thank you specifically to Spencer from Third Place Books for being here and selling books and responding to all my emails. I am relentless. Most people in this room know that at this point. I will email you for sure. Okay. Next up, we have Anu Charanth. She is wearing a matching outfit with Amy, which is the most incredible thing I've seen. Did you guys make those? You went shopping together?
Sort of. Online shopping.
Cute. God. Oh, that's so cute. Okay. So Amy actually turned me on to Anu. Is on the table. I'm really excited to hear her for the first time. She's taught about global issues, race, gender, identity, and equity to thousands of students, presented at high profile as well as more humble events, and collaborated with social change agents and innovative thinkers around the world. I'm very Book of the Year, Bronze Prize in Travel, and other things that I just didn't want to, stand here and do this to you guys, or maybe to you either. But it won a lot of stuff. So please welcome Anu to the stage.
Hi, good evening. Hi. Yeah, check out our matching outfits. They're the coolest. At some event, and today's the day, so. So, thanks for that nice introduction to me. I'm going to read to you a little bit from my book, Beyond Guilt Trips. And in addition to some of what Katie shared, I do a lot with international education, study abroad. I've been teaching at the UW. This is now 24 years. and I shepherd UW students and various other kinds of travelers to different parts of our globe. And, let's be real, we live in an unequal world, and traveling outside of our framework is into contact with not only people who are unlike us. Traveling doesn't mean just going far, it can mean going anywhere close by. And I work with a lot of people around some of the complexities of travel, far or near, and how that makes us feel. And what do we do with that? And what does navigating inequity look like and mean? So this story introduces the book, and hope you like it. I've brought my 4.5-year-old daughter to Third Place Books to hear a gospel choir perform. It is Sunday afternoon. I lead through the crowd, her little hand grasping my shirt as a leash. We find a small opening near the front of the stage. My daughter and I sway to the sweet rhythms. From our vantage point, the choir members are comprised mostly of Black women, a few Black men, 2 or 3 Asian American women, and 2 or 3 white women. Robust and energetic, the choir director rouses her singers and audience alike with energy and poise. My daughter dances with the other children nearby for a while, and then climbs back into my arms and focuses on the audience. They slowly pan the audience to try to discern individual features and attributes of the people all around me, a strategy I use to stay present and aware of the different kinds of differences that might be around me, even when there isn't much racial diversity. Suddenly, my kid shimmies down my body and runs into the audience. I'm surprised at her energy, and am curious as to who or what has compelled this sudden burst. Has she recognized somebody we know? Our neighbor, perhaps? I crane my head to look at who or what she has found, and then I see. A Black man and woman have just entered and found seats on the other side of the room. Their Blackness is significant because they are the only other visible people of color in the room, besides the choir members, my daughter, and I. My daughter stands right smack in front of them with a big smile on her face. I think about calling her name to why she has parked herself in front of them and worried if she's bothering them. The couple, though, seem not to mind her presence. Though they are unfamiliar to us, my kid is eager and they clap with her. Clearly, they are amused by her attention. The 3 of them laugh and dance and wiggle their bodies to the music together, happy in each other's company. After a few moments, the man looks around for a parent, a guardian, a relative, anyone who will claim this child. I wave across the room, and we catch glances, and we smile in greeting to one another. There is relief in his eyes. Oh, good, he will not have to take this child home. He resumes his play with my daughter with more vigor now that she has been identified as mine. My daughter rushes back to me. She yanks my neck and pulls my ear down to share her big news. Ummi, they are brown too, the same color as us. She says this not in English, but in Kannada, the language from South India that she and I speak together. To demonstrate her point, she methodically points to 3 pieces of evidence: the couple sitting across the room, my brown arm, and then hers. The few white people standing near me haven't understood what she said, but they have seen my daughter point. I watch them as they follow her finger. Their eyes register a moment of surprise when the point lands on the one Black couple in the audience, and they quickly look away. I immediately feel a combination of defensiveness, embarrassment, and discomfort. Do the people around me think my child is being rude or racist by pointing to the only Black audience members? Come to think of it, do I think she's being rude? Is this racist? Tangled, my thoughts wander. What does being rude or racist actually mean? Her statement about us being the same color is honest and merely factual. What's wrong with that? I wonder. She simply said what she saw and expressed how it made her feel. Acknowledging race, of course, is certainly not the same as being racist. Is it somehow wrong for my daughter to feel a connection to the couple based on what we learned of the shared skin color that was so evident and familiar to her, and used it as a way to connect? Many of us have grown up believing that noticing difference means we are somehow being unfair, rude, discriminatory, or just plain wrong. We're often in the in-between space of not knowing if we should be noticing the differences that we are indeed noticing, and not knowing how to feel about what it is we are noticing. We might feel that if we don't talk about race and other differences, we are somehow being polite or tolerant. We've been socialized to remain silent, anxious, and sometimes unaware of how our identities have been constructed in relation to one another. When you or I see differences between ourselves and others, we might be tempted to downplay. We feel a range of complex feelings, even if we are all collectively human. A year or so after the gospel choir performance, I ran into the Black couple at Costco. We recognized each other immediately. "Honey, look there," the man had called out to his partner after shaking my hand. "It's the dancing kid's mom from the gospel show last year." That sure was a lovely afternoon. We had great fun with your daughter. Please tell her that we, her brown friends, say hi. Thank you.
I also want to shout out that was beautiful, thank you. I want to shout out the volunteers that keep this place going, specifically Amy and Whitney. That's the reason to give more, like these two. It's nice to be paid for your work, you know what I mean? It's really nice. This is a nice thing to, yeah. Okay, Jay Aquinas Thompson. Oh, God, I love you so much. Okay, like there are so many people in this room that love Jay. I feel like I should just read this because it's too much. Okay, they are a poet, essayist, and memoirist, as well as a teacher of creative writing to public school students from grades 3 through 12, through Sal's Writers in the Schools program, and to women surviving incarceration through the Gulf Pencil Group. Their memoir, which is for sale, The Resurrection Appearances, Fragments of a Day Book, is available at the table. It is so good. Rachel? Where's Rachel? Can you say something about it? I mean, not to put you on the spot. You don't have to. Yeah, you're so good at this. Totally.
For those of us, all kinds of ways about the idea of a resurrection, it transforms the complications into like embrace and layered experience of return to what cannot be returned.
You see why I made her do it? I'm like trying to learn how to be a critic. Photos, song notes, poetry, which I also highly recommend. Their work has been published in New Delta.
Look at your beautiful faces. Hi, y'all. Thank you for that introduction, Katie. Thank you. Bit every month. That's one way you can support Cam's work. Anyone else in the room who does that want to raise their hand? Give a little bit every month to support Cam's work? Let's help it happen. Now I get to be the one with the theater of the street behind me. Anyone else see the person in the red heels go this way and then go that way? I'm going to be reading from this memoir. It's a daybook of a grief year. My mom died slowly and then really quickly from complications of ALS in 2006, May of 2006. You'll hear dates and months and days sort of marking the passage that time. She died in May of 2016. Queerness and Catholicism, chosen and unchosen family. You'll hear a lot of names come and go. I'll try to peg them place them when they come. Meaning making after loss. I encourage everyone here to buy lots of books. Ever since small press distribution collapsed and took a lot of inventory with it, a lot of little presses are hurting. One way you can support that work is by spending money here now. I'll read for about 7 minutes from this book. You just weren't quite ready to be born, she told me every year over birthday carrot cake and champagne, but they made you. In a rushed prenatal exam, a nurse broke her water, and my birth had to be induced. I was borderline hypoxic, an APGAR 3, and I found a photo of her in labor with me. Same pained concentration. Brow, and I cut her hair. February 7th. Drizz's partner at the time took over putting Finn to bed. I drove the half mile to meet her at her door. She barely spoke the whole trip, subdued, hot-eyed, silent on the dark drive there and back. I helped her back up to her place with her bags, and she suddenly pushed open some barrier in herself. She was haunted, she told me, by her last trip to clean her mom's cottage, her first since Grandma's second husband had died. Seeing her mom drifty, forgetful, angry, day-drinking gin, with a pile of unopened mail from her second husband's estate telling her she'd need to move out within a month. My mom set herself down on her folding couch, head still up, bird alert, blazing hot, still talking. I shelved her canned beans, kombu, masa, and dry pasta, then sat across from her, listening ears on. It was clamped down dark outside, her west windows full of the rain-smeared chromium light of warehouses and rail depots. And it wasn't just her mom, she said. She'd also lost her friendship with Kay, the gentle Jesuit. A decade before, she'd met Kay in Bolivia. She was studying Spanish at a Catholic foster care and indigenous legal aid center, and he was there doing civil rights work for political prisoners of Carlos Mesa's government. When she came back to Seattle and he to New York, they'd kept in touch until she told me this month, when she'd mistaken his words of prayerful care in a letter for a love note and had poured out her longing heart to him. His reply, not unkind but absolutely firm, set boundaries on their future communication. She'd cursed him, burnt the green end off their friendship, and permanently severed correspondence. And it wasn't just Kay, she said. She was repulsed that the Pope had that week reaffirmed, this is in 2016, had reaffirmed the finality of the church's ban on women in the priesthood. This narrow, controlling bullshit, this same bullshit, as if the only reason God came to earth was to look after male mediocrity. And it wasn't just the Pope, she said. Rain softer, her body still rigid. She remembered, she said, crying on her bed at 11, begging God to make himself known, as dishes shattered downstairs and her parents screamed at each other. And there was never an answer, she told me, never a response to all her anguish and longing. It was another decade. I was 5 years out of my parents' nightmare before that desperation cooled off inside me. And one day, she said, in prayer, knock, knock, I'm here. There was that living presence, right there to embrace me, there to draw me in, there flowing like a fountain inside my own heart. It was real. You know. And that's something no church, no trifling dipshit in his robe, no company man with a suit and a checkbook can ever take away from me. Summer air, July 14th. Fields and I are eating vermicelli at an outdoor table and a bamboo screen. Then this year's April 1st or February 10th or months after is infinitely, inexpressibly far, and the past is right here. It's true, I have no idea sometimes why I do the things I do. Why offer any of this? Those two trees, Finn's voice, remembered sunsets layered over sunsets, to church, to the cold marble name of God, Sunday school kids, dry incense smoke. Torn in two, not between heavenly spirit and sinful flesh, but between rooting and pulling loose, between clutching and releasing. Is it God I feel gripping me by my dura mater and unsheathing my nerves, fiber by fiber, gripping me by my right and left palms, one side squeezing, just keep her close, the other side squeezing, just let her go? As the tip of two candles brought close enough meet, every moment coincides. At my keyboard, I lean backward 3 decades into a video store Saturday, watching my mom look for a movie by Marcel Carné, Billy Wilder, John Sayles, Spike Lee, Akira Kurosawa. The dreaming boy by the fire, listening to her read Treasure Island, is at their MacBook Pro right now, typing this. Every moment coincides. Donald Ravel writes, antiquity shivers in the unbuilt tree. It's a moment from a conversation with a witch in my life. August 15th, Raven built to a white heat talking about one of her roommates, Isaias, this incredible fucking asshole who blew his go-go tips on coke, but was still 3 months late on shared bills. When he finally paid, the memo line on the check he left on the fridge said, petty bullshit. And he used up Raven's coconut milk, and he left bags of chicken giblets seeping in the sink, and he never fucking swept. In the middle of this, Raven suddenly glanced down at the medal of St. Benedict I was wearing, and they suddenly said, the only reason Christianity needs to exist in the first place is because humans created empire. Yeah, it's sick. In a lot of ways, it's a sick religion. It placates the enslaved, it justifies conquest, it splits us off from the sacredness that's already right here in our own bodies. But Christianity, when it's least fucked up, gives a form for radical generosity too. A generosity that can transform the alienated life of all the poor strangers we've packed together into these nightmare shitbox cities. Back before there was such a name as a god king, back before grain taxes or court priests in white linen robes, before cities, egalitarianism was just a fact. It was how humans lived. We didn't need to be taught an ethic of radical generosity or self-sacrifice or giving beyond. There was no earlier alienation for this ethic to heal. But the minute humans thought up kings, forced migration, state-run agriculture, the minute we thought up slums, the minute we invented strangers, we needed something, some kind of faith that could redeem and remake all this misery. Humans need to be able to make a family, not just from friends, but from strangers. Christianity is fucked, but it can perform this transformation. It can make something new where fear had been. One more section. She had a beautiful singing voice and was mortified about being the center of attention when sober. She told me one night,
And I can't speak to it. I'm sorry. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, Kamari. Hi. It's so calm. I don't know. What should I say about Kamari? I feel like I've known you a long time. Hair in my mouth, excuse me. But I don't know. I don't remember from what. I feel like it must have been Hugo House. But I feel like you've been this constant source of like multi-genre play and all the ways. Oh, it was a reading. It was at that cider, that like gluten-free cider place or whatever. Yeah, and you read poetry, and it was completely mind-blowing. And then I've just been following you around the city ever since. I feel like I've reached out to you many times for many things to do things. But so anyway, here we are again. With the goal of creating something that starts the process of healing for herself and others, Kamari Bright, they, is a community-taught video poet and multidisciplinary artist heavily inspired by human psychology and her own growth and healing journey. The award-winning artist leans into the interplay of imagery and language, fortifying one with the other to reflect the facets of communication. Her video poems have been internationally received at Seattle Art Museum, the International Poetry Film Festival of Thuringia, the Academy Award qualifying Holly Shorts Film Festival, and many other avenues, while their poetry has been featured in Tri-Quarterly, Moss, Bellwether Arts Week, and more. Please welcome Kamari.
Oh my God. I yawned during my own bio. That was cool. Okay, so I want to start my set with 2 audience questions, and you will need to use your hands, so if you're drinking, figure it out. First question, by show of thumbs, up or down, how are you feeling? Got it. So a little bit of context. These are all things in this thing called the Grind Challenge, which is, yeah, you've heard of it. So the Grind Challenge is just to write or revise one new thing every day for a month. And it sounds cute, but it's not. Like, you will turn out some nuggets and then also some what the fuck May. But February was really the pits. So the first thing I'm gonna read is dealing with film worlds where they're like, you don't need to show something publicly, or it's not a premiere whenever you show it somewhere else. So I'm not really showing this, but I'm showing this. Yep. It's a draft.
So sterile in its noise, so crisp. Absence lives in the wall of my stomach. It grows. Every day.
Thank y'all. And I apologize, that was hella low light imagery, and I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna project, but so the last thing is a shorty, kind of along the same lines. I don't know why. It seems like for women, whenever you reach a certain age, everybody wants to know your business about your love life and what's happening with you wanting to have kids. And it's like, make us some kids. And it's like, I don't think we'll be carrying the kids. So that's what this was about. I am of the age where everyone inquires about my womb as though they could inhabit it. I probably list it on Zillow and call it performance art or something. List it with all.
That was so beautiful. Okay, our last reader. Before that, just thank you all so much for being here. It's a gift to get to do this. And like an honor that you like come and spend your time and your money and your attention on this. And thank you to all the readers and to Timothy. Yeah, just like, it's so good. This is so good. I hope you all feel really good too. Okay, good. Amy is another one I can't say anything about. I fucking love Amy so much. I don't know how to talk about you guys. You're part of my life on a regular basis, and you're so magical at the same time. You're such an essential part of the Seattle community. Amy, specifically, I'm talking about you. Where are you? Hi, you're hiding? Are you hiding? Yeah, I just got to watercolor with Amy over coffee recently, and I hope I get to do it all the time. I don't know how I missed you for so long. This feels like a love confession or something. I don't know. I just think you're so great. I'm so glad to know you. Amy Hirayama is a mixed-race Japanese and white writer and educator from Seattle. She teaches creative writing through Writers in the Schools and is the events and residency coordinator for Clarion West. That is her bio. You're so amazing. Please welcome Amy Hirayama.
Thank you, Katie. How many people is their first time being at CAM? Is there anybody? Yay! I just want to say we're so glad you are here and you belong here. And this place is a magical home for creative people and community. And so I hope you have that feeling in this space because it is real and it is true. Your life takes a completely different direction. So I'm so excited to be reading here with Anu tonight. Okay, I have some slides and I'm going to start reading. In 2018, my dad, older brother, here we are, younger sister, nephew, and I went to Japan for the first time. My sister is also here. Ask her about any of this. We crammed a lot of activity into 2 short weeks, including a 4-day trip to Okinawa to try to find the area where my dad's family lived before they immigrated to Hawaii in the early 1900s. We found the US military base where their village probably used to be, and the Buddhist temple they might have gone to if they had been practicing Buddhists. It's hard to feel a sense of belonging while staring, or a sense of homecoming while staring at American flags and fighter jets through a chain link fence. What did feel like home, though, was the pork. Here is all the pork I ate in Okinawa. 1. The first pork I ate was 2 thick slabs of pork belly in a clear broth with chewy golden noodles, white ovals of fish cake, a generous sprinkling of green onion, and pickled ginger on the side. The striations in the meat fascinated me. They went dusty rose, cream-colored fat, salmon pink, dusty rose, cream-colored fat, salmon pink. The final salad, but it didn't take long to convince her to go for it. Bite into that meat fat skin like it's no big deal. Like you're a real Okinawan, like you love it. And I loved it. It was one of those bites that makes you light up because your body knows it's eating something more than just food. You know who else loved it? Japan, who annexed Okinawa in 1879. They were like, ooh, the pork here is so good. The beaches are so beautiful. The location is so advantageous for trade. Independent Ryukyu Kingdom? Nah, you're Japanese now. Don't worry, you totally won't become the poorest prefecture in Japan. We totally won't let a quarter of your population violently die in a world war. You totally won't lose huge swaths of land to 30 foreign military bases in an area of land as large as New York, the Manhattan area. 2. The second time I ate pork in Okinawa was for dinner the same day as the first time I ate pork in Okinawa. We'd gone hiking, which involved getting lost on the way to the trailhead because one of us wanted to follow Google Maps instead of the signs on the side of the road that said, Hiji Falls, this way. So here's the map. Down at the bottom, the happy campers, that's where we wanted to go. That's where the signs were pointing. The top of the map, the top of the waterfall, is where Google Maps was trying to direct our rented minivan. We were 10 days into our trip, and at this point, at any given time, one of us had a headache, one of us was being a total ass, one of us was being an idiot, one of us was being weird, and one of us was staying calm and level-headed, and holding it together with grace and aplomb. That being said, we were all exhausted, and none of us is good at making decisions. As a direct result, my second pork was at Mega Don Quixote, affectionately nicknamed Donkey. If you're not familiar with Donkey, picture Walmart if Walmart were Japanese and not shitty. there was a ramen restaurant in front of the store across from the shop where they sold puppies. Whatever you're thinking, it's racist. Just want to say that. This time, it was skinnier golden noodles, 2 slabs of pork belly, shredded yuzu rind, and a separate stone bowl of still boiling tonkotsu dipping broth, thick as gravy. Once again, the pork seemed special, like a symbol, like a way to connect to this island, like maybe this pork was a descendant of the pork the ancestors ate. Only probably not my ancestors, because they would have eaten the indigenous agu pig, which was decimated during the Battle of Okinawa, and then even more decimated after an epidemic of hog cholera killed another 6,000 or so of the remaining pigs. The agu still exists, but it's more of a specialty meat now, and this being a ramen shop inside of a donkey, it's unlikely I was eating agu. 3. The third pork I ate was almost exactly the same as the second pork, because the next day we returned to the same Mega Don Quixote for dinner, where I ordered the same dish with a slightly different broth, which tells you where we were emotionally, spiritually, and energetically at this point in the trip. The pork we had been eating was probably a descendant of the pigs from the sea. After World War II, restoring Okinawa and ensuring its devastated population didn't starve to death was not the top priority of the United States. Fortunately, the Okinawan community in Hawaii was aware of the desperation of their friends and family, and they organized food, clothing, book, sewing machine, and medicine drives. The Hawaii Association for Okinawan Relief Kai formed specifically to raise money to send pigs to the island. In 6 months, they managed to raise enough money to buy 550 Chester white pigs from a farmer in Omaha, Nebraska. I just want to say, this was not a wealthy community in Hawaii. This was a very impoverished group of people who saw a need and scraped, like there were people who would work multiple jobs, their children worked multiple jobs so they could have enough money to donate to the relief fund. So it was an incredible, these 550 pigs were expensive and a very big deal to raise money for. To get these pigs from Omaha to Okinawa, 7 Okinawan men from Hawaii volunteered to travel with them to Portland, Oregon, and then board a ship to accompany them across the Pacific Ocean. It was a horrible journey. There was seasickness, the stench of pig shit on a ship, naval mines to navigate, and a storm that destroyed most of the pigsties along the way. In the chaos, several pigs fell overboard, so these 7 men lashed themselves to the railings of the ship to keep any more from sliding over the edge. They made it to Okinawa and successfully renewed the island's pig population. The delivery of these pigs is such a big deal that September 27th is officially Pigs from the Sea Day in Hawaii. There is a statue in Uruma City, Okinawa, honoring the 550 pigs and 7 men who traveled with them, and someone even wrote a critically acclaimed musical telling the story of these pigs. 4. The fourth and final time I ate pork in Okinawa was at a little sokisoba stand near the parking lot of the Okinawa Peace Memorial. This time, the pork tasted bad. It had a hint of rancid funk that I tried to ignore, but after wandering through a maze of memorials for those killed in each of Japan's 47 prefectures, looking at life-size photos of bodies, and walking on land where so many people had died in fear, the pork slabs felt too much like flesh and smelled too much like decay. Here's the thing about those pigs from the sea. As life-saving as those Chester whites were, those big, fat, white American pigs took over the island, displacing the struggling agu. I'm worried I have more in common with these colonizing pigs than with the people and culture of Okinawa. I'm worried that not only do I not belong, but that trying to belong contributes to the over-tourism of this already commodified island. I'm worried about Okinawa's ambivalence toward me turning into straight-up rejection. But you know who doesn't fixate on these worries? Next slide, please. My dad. Here's a photo of my dad being a total ham at the Okinawa Peace Memorial. Right after touring the museum, amidst the memorial sculptures, he was like, "Look at this crazy drinking fountain. Take my picture." At the time, I was slightly horrified as he was having so much fun at a memorial. But in hindsight, I think there's something incredible about finding delight in such a haunting and haunted place. Okinawa doesn't have to love me back. I'm super good at unrequited love.
Okay, we are still at $700, and I think there are like 50 people in the room. So if everybody gave $6, we'd get to 1,000. I'm just saying, like, you know, do with it what you will. Thank you. I think I've said enough. Yes? Cool. Oh, let me take a picture of everybody, because that you all are so cute. Wait, yeah, be cute, yeah. I know. Okay, all right. Jesus. Director Amari is telling me what to do. All right. Wait. Is that good? Is everybody in it? Hi. Okay, that's cute. My nostrils. All right, whatever. Great. Thank you all so much again. Please come again. We'll be in Seattle in October, I think. Oh, God. I don't know the dates. It's all on the website, nonfictionfornoreason.com, katieleellison.com. If you have thoughts or things you want to tell me, email me. I love an aggressive email. I love an out-of-nowhere email. That's it. Thank you.
Roses in the morning, and give to me are soft as summer rain at dawn in love we share. That's something rare. The sidewalks in the street, the concrete and the clay beneath my feet begins to crumble. But love will never die, because we'll see the mountains tumble before we say goodbye. My love and I will be in love eternally. That's the way it's meant to be. All around, I see the purple shades of evening, and on the ground, shadows fall, and once again you're in my arms, so tenderly. The sidewalks in the street, the concrete and the clay beneath my feet begins to crumble, but love will never die, because we'll see the mountains tumble before we say goodbye. My love and I will be in love eternally. And that's the way it's meant to be. Sidewalks in the street, the concrete and the clay beneath my feet begins to crumble, but love will never die, because we'll see the mountains tumble before we say goodbye. My love and I will be in love eternally. That's the way it's meant to be. That's the way it's meant to be. Oh, that's the way it's meant to be. That's the way because of how I walk and talk and smile. Well, I don't mind them laughing in the city, but the country folks all say I'm city-fied. The fighting men may say that I'm a coward, because I never push no one around. Gentle people call me troublemaker, 'cause I'll always fight and stand my ground. Funny I don't fit, where have all the average people gone? Some pious people point and call me sinner, because to them I've never seen the light. Other folks think of me as a preacher. I'm just doing what I think is right. The wealthy people think that I am a hobo, lean and hungry, writing mournful songs. And the poor, poor people think I am a rich man, but really, I'm just trying to get along. Yes, it's funny, I don't...
Phone on. Hello, everybody, dear friends. I will, and you may scan one of those QR codes and donate $6 or $10 or $100, and all of it will go to Cam, and we'll all be very happy. Thank you so much.
I used to think I could.
Hi. Tonight, let's take a picture. Is everyone still here?
Watching the signs, taking over from the fading day. Putting grapes back on the vine.
lately I'm thinking about only you, and you've infiltrated my system. How could you expose my weakness, defense?